guys, it's Mena. I apologize for my appearance. I had my hair wrapped up in a towel. And I apologize if I sound terrible. I am actually sick right now, so I'm going to talk. So today in this video, I'm sorry, my nose is itchy. I'm going to talk about my experience going to a private school. So, when I was in, this all began after I graduated from middle school. And well, actually, when I was about to graduate from middle school, my parents decided to send me to the school all the way out in another city, which was kind of far away. And it was also a pretty small school, like the school. And I didn't want to go at first because I wanted to go to school with all my friends that I went to middle and elementary school with. But my parents really wanted me to try out the school because they thought it would be a good idea for me. And I didn't want to go because I didn't want to go to the school because I just really wanted to be with my friends. And my parents just really wanted me to try the school out, and I was like, fine, and then I gave up. And then I told my best friends, and they were also disappointed to hear that I wasn't going to be going to school with them, and also were my other friends too. And when summer came, my mom signed me up for classes at the private school. And when I went, I thought it was kind of nice. Like, I didn't have to bring my computer because it was just a private school. The private school did everything on the computer. I thought it was kind of nice at first, and then when school started, I got a little nervous, but I got a little nervous, but I tried it anyway, and that school was not very well for me, to be honest. I had a hard time getting on my computer. Even though I liked the school, it was kind of a little hard for me. I had a hard time with my computer a lot, so a lot of the students had to help me all the time, and even the teachers as well. And no matter how hard I'd work and kept trying, my grades would just constantly drop at that school. And the school was kind of nice too because you got to bring your dogs to school. Because they had a dog class at that school because that school was so small. And the school also didn't have a cafeteria, which was pretty interesting because there's a lot of schools that have cafeterias, especially private schools, but this school literally did not have a cafeteria. Yeah, a cafeteria because the cafeteria actually it really didn't have a cafeteria because it was close to a lot of off-campus places, like a bunch of fast food restaurants and stuff. It was pretty cool. You could go off campus for lunch. When I was in middle school and elementary school, you couldn't go off campus for lunch because even though my schools were public school, it's just my schools weren't near any fast food restaurants and didn't have any fast food restaurants next to them at all. Well, I remember I had to carpool with someone. I remembered I carpooled with this one kid. He was a nice kid. We both went to the same school even though we were in 2 different grades. Sometimes I'd carpool with him to school. Sometimes he'd carpool with me to school. And it was kind of hard to get out to that school, to be honest, because my parents had to drive me all the way out. And it was kind of a long drive, to be honest. It was a really long drive at that school. And also it was to that school because it was all the way out in this other city. I thought the kids were all pretty nice, but the only problem was another problem I had was I was used to a bell being at school, so then you could tell you were late for school, but this school did not have a bell at all, so I never could tell if I was late for school at all. Well, and this may sound. And another thing the school had was the school also had chores and stuff, and if you didn't finish your chores you'd get a detention. What's weird is I got a detention at the school. Well, this was my only and first detention. I got a 15-minute lunch detention for leaving trash on the ground when I was emptying the trashes at the school. It was kind of weird, yeah. And that was my first detention I've ever gotten in my entire life. I didn't get any detentions throughout middle school, and this exactly was my first detention I'd ever gotten in my entire life. Yeah. And one thing I didn't like was like how everything in this private school had to be done on the computer, and I wasn't really that good at computers at the time. Like, here's my MacBook. This is my MacBook. I do have a video on my experience with the MacBook. If you wish to see it, I'll link it in the description box down below. Like, this is the computer I had to take to the school I went to, and everything was done on this computer. It was computer, and I had to bring it a lot. Like, I brought my charger too, just in case it died. Like, I always had to charge my computer overnight for school, and I thought it was kind of nice. Another thing I thought was nice was we didn't really have homework at that school because like everything was done on the computer. But the only class I pretty much had homework in was math, and that was the only one I had homework in. And hang on, I'm thinking. That was the only class I had like homework in was math. And what stinks was that like my parents went to like a lot of my school meetings, and another thing was nice. Sorry about that. I can't really think today because I'm sick. Anyway, what was interesting is this school we had our schedules changed a lot. Like some days, there's Tuesdays and Wednesdays I had like a speech class. Tuesday and Monday and Thursday I had like another class, and then I'd have PE first period. Like first I would have homework like 4 days a week, and then I'd have like math on Tuesday and Thursday, and like a speech thing on Monday and Wednesday. And it was it was nice to have like a little change of schedule. It kind of reminded me of, that's what college made me think of, was like my schedule would change in certain days. And on Fridays we had like PE and stuff, and we got to go off campus for PE, because when I was in elementary school we had to stay in school for PE, but this school you could go off, was next to a gym, so we got to go off campus for PE, and a lot of the parents would like drive, would volunteer to drive us to school for PE and stuff, like to the PE school, to the gym for PE class and stuff. It was pretty nice. And then my mom and my mom's friend would like come to a lot of my meetings with us, and my dad actually came to one of my meetings and stuff, and it turned out that I wasn't doing as well as they were expecting at that school. And then my mom had to make a great decision for me to have me transfer to a school in my hometown, because they thought I would be able to graduate, but because by my grades with this school I would never be able to graduate, because my grades were so like bad. I had like D's and F's in this school, and I'm usually kind of a straight A student, sort of. Well, I did get C's in a couple of my classes, and C's. I was mostly a straight A student, like in PE in middle school, even though I did get a couple of C's and D's. But even though I did get a couple of C's and D's, I was mostly a straight A student in school. And my parents had to make a good decision for me to transfer me to a school in my hometown so I could graduate, because this school was like pretty far away, and it was kind of a long drive for us to get all the way out there. It was like so hard for me and stuff, and also the computer stuff was very difficult for me. It just really wasn't working out like they had planned. And the private school was kind of nice, but one thing I didn't like was a bunch of the kids at that school talked so much smack about public school. It really offended me, because I went to public school most of my life, and I know everybody has different experiences, but I just really did not like private school. And just a reference, this is just a disclaimer, this is the only private school I've ever been to in my entire life. All my life I went to public school. So, yeah, basically my parents didn't really like the curriculum was, and they didn't really like that it wasn't doing well at that school, so they had to make a great decision to transfer me to a public school in my hometown. To the public high school in my hometown, so I could be able to graduate. So basically, I was so happy to be out of that school because I got tired of listening to the smack talking about public schools. I got, like, tired. There was also stealing kind of going on in that school. Like, at that school, when you were near school, there was a refrigerator and a microwave in one of the rooms, and you could, like, eat your lunch in that certain room. I don't remember the name of the room, but I think it was a student room. I can't explain it. So basically, yeah, you could eat lunch in that room, and people were getting their food stolen, and also computers were getting stolen and hidden from people. It was like the weirdest thing. I don't know. There was like a bunch of robberies going on. We even had like a assembly meeting about that at the school too. So yeah, I was really happy to be out of school. Even though the kids were nice, I got tired of listening to the smack talk about the public schools, and I got tired of like the stealing and stuff that was going on at that school. There was like a lot of stuff going on at that school. So basically after this Christmas, my parents transferred me to a public high school in my hometown, which I thought was a great idea. Yeah, I just wasn't a huge fan of private school. Okay, so that was my experience with private school. I'm sorry this video is so long, but anyway, I had just so much to say, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!